So this morning I woke up with chest pain, and after about an hour of it, I took an ECG and it was pretty scary. So I don't know. But I'm thinking about my death. And with that comes reflecting on my life. So I've lived a life where everybody's told me I was delusional, where I was going through such vile abuse that, it's gotten to the point that I have to die because I can tell the truth. There's words on the screen that says, don't believe a word out of her mouth. She's delusional, she's a horrible person, and treat her like shit. So it's really frustrating even trying to get any help for anything I've been through. And then what happens is I see the same doctor for a while, and the puppet strings get tangled, and they feel so helpless. And now I have this doctor's appointment tomorrow with a doctor that has been nothing but completely rude to me and ignorant for the last year, completely ignored everything. Going to him knowing that he's not going to be able to write the prescription that I need to live, that he's going to have to continue to be a puppet. So even after going to a doctor, I know I'm still going to die. And reflecting on my life and why those words are on the screen, being part of this study, this whole study that this doctors I call the Furious Five. So basically I think of myself as 5 doctors got together and tried to create a vaccine against the cycle of violence that happens in families, the abuse, the children that grow up with no parents, that are sitting in ICUs, addicted to drugs, premature, so many unwanted children that grow up in the system and get tossed around and end up our next generation of criminals. And the environments that they grow up in are horrid. It's like they're not given a chance from the day they're born. So basically, like, when Dr. Badawi was telling me that I was getting cancer screening, and after I'd already gone in and told them I was getting raped, that I had metal falling out of my vagina, that, the sterilization fell out, basically, I'm gonna get pregnant again, and them telling me I was delusional. So then it happened again, and then I had Travis. And Travis is who I'm really mourning right now, because on January 17th, 6 years ago, is when he was buried, and Darcy brought me to the graveyard and showed me him. So I do understand. I am a vaccine. I basically created a world where other women would be able to get help, where there would be the proper support systems and understanding of the abuse, and figure out a way to stop the violence. So my life has really led to buildings being built to shelter women that are in abusive situations, to stop the violence, to stop the cycle of violence. That part, that kind of makes me proud that I was able to give my life so many other women could get help they need, and that my life doesn't have to be repeated through so many different women. And the hard part, one of the hardest parts is going to, like, when I was in the hospital, and there was a pregnant lady there, and she got pregnant after sleeping with one guy that gave her attention and a bit of coke, and she ended up pregnant, and they didn't tell her. And about 3 weeks after I figured out she was pregnant, I was in the hospital for over a month. So about 3 weeks after that, she ended up going to get a gynecologist appointment, and she came back and she had milk leaking from her breasts, and she was completely emotional, and she just had an abortion. I heard the nurse on the phone, you know, and so when she booked it, I knew that she was leaving to go get an abortion, and I never said anything. So there's this girl out there that had an abortion, doesn't know about it. And when she was freaking out at me, I looked at her and I told her it must be the medication. And I felt like a horrible fucking person, and I got really pissed off, and I called all the nurses fucking murderers. And I saw her about 2 months later shooting up in a back alley. Her face was completely scabbed over from meth use. She was really skinny again. She looked like shit. She was so fucking out of it. And I think a baby would have been carried in that body and miscarried early from drug use. So addicted baby, born, put in the ICU, she'd never see that child again. Just another child to grow up in the foster system. Never given a chance. So there's a lot of me that's torn about what this study has left and what they've done with the information. Yeah, so I think about that day. You know, you see on the news that there's less babies in the ICU, less babies in foster care. And I think about the ripple effect, the school system. 5 more years. What's going to be the rate of children that were born to alcoholics, to drug addicts, to, you know, the kids that won't sit still, that will never get the help that they really need because they're really frustrating kids to deal with, to be honest. I know. Yeah. So just trying to live in my reality and die knowing, even though I've lived an extremely violent life, a lot of good has come from it. I have to go to a doctor tomorrow, sick as fuck, and he's gonna tell me that there's nothing wrong with me because he's nothing more than a puppet, and it's gonna make him feel hopeless. Yeah, so that's my whole thoughts on me dying. Pretty much accepted my death a million times over. I don't think this time's gonna be any different. So, yeah, that's my morning.